The Best of Our Knowledge explores topics on learning, education, and research. Coming up, we'll attend a demonstration of an experimental instrument, one that, when installed, can take up an entire concert stage. A new music school gives more than just guitar and piano lessons, and we'll visit a community college lab that is training students for high-tech careers. I'm Lucas Willard, host of The Best of Our Knowledge. You're listening to The Best of Our Knowledge. I'm Lucas Willard. Pioneering composer and Guggenheim Fellow Ellen Fullman developed her long string instrument more than 4 decades ago. The instrument, made of dozens of metallic strings that stretch for several feet, requires meticulous tuning and sometimes days of installation. Fullman recently brought her long string instrument to MPAC, the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center on the campus of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. Joined by guitarist Travis Andrews and percussionist Andy Meyerson, musicians who make up the outfit known as the Living Earth Show, Fullman performed a work in 6 parts called Elemental View. Prior to the performance, Fullman gave The Best of Our Knowledge a demo of the 136-string long-stringed instrument installed across the concert hall stage.
This is my installation. It's called the long string instrument.
So I'm looking at a stage, and there are several what looks like wires or guitar strings almost going from one end of the stage to the other.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Is it just that simple?
Well, it's acoustic, and it's, in a way, yes.
This is going to sound like a silly question,
Okay.
but why so big?
Yeah. The reason why is because these strings are vibrating in the longitudinal mode, that, as opposed to all other string instruments which vibrate in the transverse mode. And so there's just different properties for the longitudinal mode. And one of them is that the frequency is much higher with the longitudinal mode. So, in other words, this enormous installation is a few strings maybe dipping into the cello range, but mostly it's viola.
So for somebody who heard this and would be unfamiliar with what this instrument sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
do you compare it to a viola versus a cello?
Well, not really, because like often I'm kind of hovering between those 2 ranges depending on the scale of the installation, but I wouldn't, well, it does have a bowed sound, but it also kind of feels like a pipe organ because of all the harmonics. It's like a very sustained, rich sound. Sometimes it even sounds like an accordion.
Would you be able to give me a brief demo and maybe walk me through exactly how the instrument is played?
Sure. And give me a minute to prepare my hands.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Would
Would you mind telling me what you're actually putting on your hands
This
there?
is rosin.
Does that help you grip the strings, or what's the purpose of that?
Well, it's the same purpose as on any bowed instrument. Rosin is used on the violin bow, and it's essentially tree sap. It's sticky, pine sap, and I've dissolved it. I've ground some up. This is cello rosin, and I've also dissolved some in alcohol so that I can apply it to the string as well as my hands. And so my hands become like the bow. So this sound is, it may seem like such an extreme to go to for getting the range of a viola, but it has different properties than a viola. It's got its own voice.
Wow, that's something. So are you grabbing, when you're doing that, are you with each hand only grabbing one string or several strings at once?
I'm playing several strings there. What we just heard was 4 or 5 strings at a time, playing a chord.
Do you actually have several aisles of this instrument?
Yes, and in this piece, I'm working with a duo, the Living Earth Show, and they are playing my instrument with me. The Living Earth Show are using some tools that I designed for striking the instrument in more of a percussive or rhythmic manner. This piece, for example, it's like about 8 inches wide. It's like a hollow box with like holes on the side where you can hold it, and it has a curved surface where rosin has been applied. And it can strike 9 strings at once, and I can produce a chopping sound. Like all string players know some of this, use some of the same vocabulary, but
It's almost like it's like a bow on a violin, almost. You're hitting multiple strings at once with the same pressure, but you can also move it around and add different levels of pressure to different strings at the same time.
oh, sure.
How many feet long is this, or one of these strings?
Here, this is about 55 feet wide, this installation on the stage.
Now, I know that when, for instance, when playing a guitar, when strumming a guitar, if you strum the guitar closer to the neck versus down on the bridge, it produces a different kind of tone. Is that the same with this instrument?
Yes, it's this works on all those same principles. It really does follow all other string instruments in terms of what you're talking about really is the spectrum of harmonics on any string. But in this case, the mapping of those points is more stretched out. So if you think of the harmonics as almost like striations or lines across the string along the length, which hits a midpoint and then reverses out. All of those harmonics are perfect small number divisions of that full string length. And these capos on this change the effective string length and tune the instrument, these little clips. So for example, this one is short, you see, and this is going to be a high pitch. But then there is, let's see, there's longer ones, like this one is a bit longer. You see? And then this diagonal one is going up to that railing, and that's lower.
It takes the entire length of the string to vibrate to produce that note.
Yes, it's sort of like a compression wave which is moving, ricocheting, like back and forth along the length. And the thing that I explore, which I haven't truly demonstrated for you, is I explore the harmonics along the length. Because as I'm walking, you hear these timbral differences, as you described. Sometimes on my instrument, the tone comes out so clearly that it sounds like another chord is being played. They're so loud. And in this mode of vibration, the longitudinal mode, is just like a characteristic of what happens. And I couldn't tell you why. I'm not an engineer. I just use my ear and work with it, compositionally. I would say that it leads to a kind of what I'm hoping for is a deep level of concentration, which I kind of like to develop that in my own listening. And then so, it's sort of like I'm working on myself. But I can, as I play, I can hear more things. And because there's multiple tones going on at once. And there are changes which happen that within the sound that is the same, there are changes that change. There's sounds that change, right? I'm not interested in drone per se at all. I'm interested in the changes that occur, following all of the changes. Yeah.
So when you're walking, you're also listening very closely and feeling the different vibrations and notes that are being played in your hands. Mm-hmm. And then does it take some practice to say, I want to go here next, I want to get this feeling next? How are you putting it together in your head when you're walking across the strings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like any musical instrument. It requires practice. It's just a musical instrument, So, yeah, lots of practice, yeah.
Ellen Fullman is a composer and creator of the long string instrument, which she recently installed and performed alongside the Living Earth show at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute's Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center in Troy, New York. You're listening to The Best of Our Knowledge. I'm Lucas Willard. This is The Best of Our Knowledge. It's been 2 decades since School of Rock and Jack Black gave viewers a glimpse of what music education could be. Non-traditional music and performance academies give students a foundation and hands-on experience in music making. The Best of Our Knowledge's Jody Cowan reports on the Albany Rock Pit, a new school in upstate New York.
On an October evening, a group of students at the Albany Rock Pit are practicing their take on the Beatles' Helter Skelter. The track from 1968's The White Album is sometimes referred to as a prototype for heavy metal. These students are about 2 months out from their first public show in December, a showcase of heavy metal and the British invasion. Philip Pondros, age 13, plays the drums, keyboard, and sings. He said the Albany Rock Pit is special, giving him an opportunity to meet others and jam out live.
It is one of the few schools, I'm pretty sure it's one of the very small groups of music schools. Like, I've only seen 2 that's done this, and one of them that's shut down, that play live. And if you're at the music school, then you can play.
Mabel Blodgett, a sophomore in high school, is taking bass lessons at the Albany Rock Pit. She said the school has challenged her to discover her own path.
This place is more creative with the learning styles and help you actually figure out the certain construction of the songs rather than you being assigned some sort of homework.
Opened in August, the Albany Rock Pit welcomes rockers of all ages and experience levels, including 8 to 11-year-old Stones, on up to adults 18 and up referred to as Mountains. Rock Pit manager and scheduler Maddie Cayetzo provided a tour of the Pebbles lesson room, where the youngest students will learn the foundations of music.
We have all the notes up on the wall so they can kind of see what note is what. Learning simple beats, music. Last week they were playing We Will Rock You. And we're just, trying to get them into music. Last week we had drums, a lot of the tambourines, keys, simple notes on the keys. We have a few more boys coming in this week. They usually like the drums, and they're not really into the guitar yet, but they'll get there.
More than 40 students are enrolled at the music school that is located in a repurposed office space. At a recent ribbon cutting, Albany Rock Pit co-owner Tess Collins, who's had a long career managing bars and restaurants, said it took a lot of community support and volunteer effort to get the doors open in August.
With everybody here and a lot of the patients and the cleaning and all the stuff from the hundreds of people that have helped us now at this point, we got the school together, and I'm very proud of it. I pretty much said it's probably the coolest thing I've ever done, and I've done a lot of weird things.
In addition to dedicated rooms for lessons and performance, the Albany Rock Pit also has a lounge area for students to unwind between sets, complete with snacks and tables for playing chess and other games. The school was welcomed by local politicians, too. Albany County Executive Dan McCoy said the Albany Rock Pit offers a safe, creative environment after the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the lives and routines of students.
Taking a void that was there, and you think after COVID, there's no place for kids to go and just kind of let their hair down and be themselves, and it's being creative in your learning. Whether you want to play professional or you just want to jam, you want a place to hang out and be in a safe environment, and that's what you have here.
Earlier this year, another rock school in nearby Latham closed permanently, leaving its instructors and students without a home base or an outlet. 14-year-old Harley Linth credited her mother Kim and Collins with working together to fill the void.
Me and a lot of other people, we were very sad. We didn't really have any other place to go. Me and Tess was just like, okay, let's take this place that my mom already had. We owned the whole building, both sides, and we worked on this place. It was all dusty, sinks didn't work, but we still got it done.
As the space continues to evolve, plans for a second-floor concert area are in the works. New programming and fresh musical genres are also being considered. Albany Rock Pit music director and drum instructor Sean Cranston, who came to the school after the School of Rock closed, said he was honored to take the reins in leading the Albany Rock Pit.
It's been a tremendous honor being included to captain this ship, so to speak, and our goals for the future, I know for me, it would be to open a recording studio and a really large performance space so that we could possibly host our own shows right here at the school. So that would be a good start there, and then just obviously just the lessons and seeing the kids conquer their goals, and even the adults, seeing them come in and conquer their goals, it's always cool.
For the best of our knowledge, I'm Jody Cowan.
You're listening to The Best of Our Knowledge. I'm Lucas Willard. As technology advances and high-tech and precision manufacturing become more, high-tech, colleges and universities that are training the next generation of workers are changing too. Dutchess County in New York's Hudson Valley is home to facilities for technology companies IBM, onsemi, and CyrusOne. A new laboratory at Dutchess Community College in Fishkill is training graduates for jobs that can't be replaced by automation. As Jesse King reports, class is in session at DCC's new Mechatronics Lab.
The grand opening of the lab at DCC's Center of Excellence for Industry and Innovation was in the national spotlight October 6th when First Lady Jill Biden stopped by on a tour of the Hudson Valley to tout her husband's agenda. The $3 million facility was largely funded by grants from SUNY, Empire State Development, Dutchess County, and the American Rescue Plan Act. The purpose of the lab is to prepare students for jobs in manufacturing, but what exactly does that entail? Freddie Santiago, coordinator of mechatronics programming for DCC, says the manufacturing jobs of the future are multidimensional, requiring a fundamental understanding of multiple types of machinery.
What this is really incorporating is all the different technologies that fall under the Industry 4 technology framework. 3D printing, or also known as additive manufacturing, AI technology, nanoscale technology or automation, robotic manipulation, where they're self-gearing, self-steering, and they operate as one single entity.
To that end, Santiago says the Mechatronics Lab is divided into three main modules: the Electronic/Automation Lab, a Mechanical Lab, and a Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning Lab. Students in the HVAC lab are taught all about refrigeration and heat pump systems with hands-on stations that mimic both manufacturing applications and HVAC units you find in your own home. By sizing residential HVAC units, for example, Santiago says students get in the habit of thinking like engineers and considering things like the volume of the room, the insulation of different materials, people load, and more.
It offers them an opportunity to understand how the physics actually becomes, the practice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Then in this room, we have...
Santiago says students can receive their EPA Section 608 certification, a federal requirement for those working with air conditioners and refrigerants, after earning about 30 credits. Next door, the mechanical lab allows students to study what Santiago calls fluid power, including hydraulics, pneumatics, gears, and belt drives. The sprawling electronics/automation lab, meanwhile, contains 35 credits of stations meant to help students understand everything from basic circuit theory to advanced electrical processes. Santiago says this is where students can learn how to measure voltage, filter signals, and size transformers.
What this is really doing is giving them an introduction to what eventually they'll start to see in the other equipment. That translates into the manufacturing industry.
It all comes together in a large automated assembly line at the front of the lab. It looks like the ultimate Rube Goldberg machine, and the premise is roughly the same. Santiago says each station has its own parts that need to be assembled and connected to complete a task, but they can also be programmed to work together as one, and the stations can be rearranged and reprogrammed as needed to make whatever students are looking for. After hopping on the computer to boot everything up, Santiago gives the assembly line a quick run-through. In less than a minute, the string of motors, conveyor belts, and robotic arms transforms a small metal cube into what I'd call a doohickey, but what Santiago calls a
directional control valve, which is something that's used in pneumatics and in hydraulics circuitry.
What this all adds up to are high-tech manufacturing jobs, not the kinds of jobs that can be replaced by automation because, well, the graduates from DCC will be the ones building, programming, and maintaining the robots. Paloma Krakauer, Director of Workforce Education and Development at DCC, says the lab was developed with industry partners like Global Foundries and ON Semiconductor in mind. That way, DCC can serve as a workforce pipeline and, it's hoped, help students secure quality technician positions, which Krakauer says typically start at about $60,000 to $70,000 a year. Krakauer says she especially wants to help make the industry more accessible.
We are looking to recruit neurodiverse students who could be excellent candidates for this type of industry. There are paths for people brand new, paths for people who are already in industry, and I think that it's going to be an awesome continued collaboration, and I'm really excited to see what we can do.
DCC's Fishkill campus currently offers an Electrical Technology Associates of Applied Science and 6 different technical training courses with certification through the Smart Automation Certification Alliance and the Manufacturing Skills Standards Council. Santiago says the college is also working on developing an HVAC Associates program, and it intends to expand its programs for middle, high school, and BOCES students.
Jesse King is Hudson Valley Bureau Chief for WAMC Northeast Public Radio and is host and producer of our National Productions sister program, 51%. You're listening to The Best of Our Knowledge. First awarded in 2001, the $500,000 Albany Medical Center Prize in Biomedicine and Biomedical Research is one of the nation's largest for science and medicine. A $50 million gift commitment from the Marty and Dorothy Silverman Foundation provides for the Albany Prize to be awarded annually for 100 years. This year, the prize is being shared by 3 recipients. Announced last month, they are Princeton's Dr. Bonnie Bassler, Washington University Medical School's Dr. Jeffrey Gordon, and Harvard Medical School's Dr. Dennis Casper. During the October ceremony in Albany, New York, local high school students had the chance to attend and ask questions of the prize-winning researchers. The Best of Our Knowledge asked the students about the opportunity to meet with the leaders of their fields.
So my name is Ethan Goldberg from the Don't Start School. I'm in 11th grade. I personally am more interested in the engineering field, so I think it'd be very cool to see the what I could do to mechanically engineer ways to apply these biological advancements in technology.
I'm Ava De Noronha from Don't Start School. I'm in 12th grade. And I've been really interested in neurobiology and studying neurodegenerative diseases. So this was a really cool opportunity to get to hear about their journeys of how they became researchers and the steps they took. And it was really inspiring because, it seems like you can take a lot of different paths and still end up making these accomplishments.
Well, I'm Blay. I'm a senior in Albany High School. As a person going into the medical field, I feel kind of grateful that I can learn from them, and there's just so much to learn. There's just a lot to be discovered, and all those things. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Raina Swan. I'm a senior at Albany High School. I've always very much been interested in epidemiology, biology, and psychology. It's very diverse for me, but being here made it very realistic because I could hear from their perspectives, and the way they broke it down made it feel a little more optimistic for me and more confident going into the fields.
This has been The Best of Our Knowledge, episode 1728. The Best of Our Knowledge is a national production of WAMC, Northeast Public Radio. Thanks to associate producer Jody Cowan. The latest on all National Productions programs is available via the Airwaves newsletter and our flagship station's website, WAMC.org. Until next time, I'm Lucas Willard.